News Channel 5 on your side presents Kaleidoscope, focusing on people who make a difference in Northeast Ohio communities.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast again. The United Black Fund launched its pilot program of Cleveland Coders a year ago in the Richmond Heights School District. Executive Director Cecil Lipscomb is here to talk about this mentoring initiative and about other programs and services of the organization. Then later on, we'll hear from Arlene Anderson and Danielle Sidner of the Cleveland branch of the NAACP. They'll talk about the organization's membership drive and about economic development. And on the broadcast after that, Elaine Golston and Angela Thee Bennett will talk about the mission of the Black Women's Political Action Committee. Good afternoon again, everybody. I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope, and so we beginning with one of our regulars around here, Cecil Lipscomb, Executive Director. How are you, Cecil?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
I'm correct on Cecil, or are you Cecil?
Well, this side of the pond, I'm Cecil.
Is that right? And and on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean?
It's Cecil for sure.
Okay, we'll call you whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner, is what Cecil or Cecil always says. Good to have you here, my
Thank
friend.
you. It's good to be back.
Things are well with the United Black Fund.
Absolutely. We're really excited about some of the things we're doing in the community. As we referenced, our annual meeting is coming up. And so we are hosting that over at the Case Western's Tinkham-Ville Center on December 7th. So that's something we're excited about, to showcase some of our good work in the community. We also are working in our coding initiative as we launched last year in Richmond Heights. Well, we've expanded since I've talked to you last. So we're actually in conversations and kind of doing some groundwork in Cleveland Heights school systems.
Well, let's dig a little deeper into that. First off, let me tell you, give us a thumbnail sketch of just what the United Black Fund does.
Certainly. We actually provide grants to nonprofit organizations throughout Northeast Ohio. We've been doing that for about 35 years. We actually support areas of giving in education, workforce development, and basic needs. So last year we supported about 70 different organizations, and ranging anywhere from summer camps to senior assisted living programs. Okay.
Well, let me get you back to, you mentioned the Cleveland Coders now. What is the Coders program that you launched a year ago?
So the Ohio Department of Education actually put forward a mentoring initiative, and that was to actually partner with school districts and bring in individuals, professionals, to work alongside kids. We know that mentoring is one of the most successful methods of actually providing education to our youth. Well, what we decided to do was kind of mentoring with a purpose, and that purpose was on careers in the areas of technology. And so when we looked into it, coding, there was a significant difference in between how many graduates were coming out of college with computer science degrees and the careers that were available, and especially in the minority communities. And so what we did is we worked with the school board and Dr. Renee Willis at Richmond Heights and identified certain classrooms that we could actually teach coding. And it starts in the 5th grade and goes all the way up to the 11th grade right now.
Tell me about coding. What is coding?
If you can imagine programming your phone to do what it does, the internal guts, the software that's behind all of the hardware that we see in society. Today, as I mentioned, you know, it can be as small as a toaster and as big as a car. And there are opportunities for people to actually engage in technology at those various levels.
So you're trying to whet the students' appetites for continued involvement for this, and in science and in technology and mechanical things and mathematics and all of that.
Yeah, you know what, we feel like, just like any other subject, if you expose a child early, it becomes familiar. And so, you know, when we talk to a 5th grader or expose them to actually taking this particular object on a computer screen and writing in code to actually move to the next side of the screen, that is actually exposing them. When the projects get very difficult, they won't be fearful. They'll have a base and can move on to a higher understanding and advanced degrees in the subject.
And you're doing this at the Richmond Heights School District? Richmond
Heights School District. This is our 2nd year, and we're really excited to announce that Cleveland Heights has decided to actually launch it into 2 of their 4th grade classrooms. And they want to build cohorts leading all the way up to their high school, which they already have a partnership with Cisco in their high school. So I'm just creating a pipeline of young developers, let's say.
Well, congratulations on that. You've got a meeting in our final couple of minutes here. You've got an annual meeting coming up at Case Western Reserve University. What's going to happen at that annual meeting?
So this is our annual meeting. It's really a community meeting, so I wanted to really extend the invitation out to just the average person that wants to come out and learn how they can become involved in the community. Pastor or Reverend Stephen Rowan from Bethany Baptist Church is actually going to be our keynote speaker. He's also the chair of the Cleveland Foundation. We want to talk about building on our solid foundation of unity. We feel like, you know, the United Black Fund has been around for so long, and we've done very good work, quietly in some cases. We want to just share that, hey, we started out great. Now we're actually going to infuse some of our work into more stable and longevity, long projects throughout Greater Cleveland.
So the public is invited to this event. It's the United Black Fund's annual meeting. It's going to be held at the Tinkham-Ville University Center of Case Western Reserve University, Wednesday, December the 7th. What time do you start with that?
5:30. So right after work, and you know, we're trying to make sure that people can engage and meet some of the organizations, some of those 70 organizations that we fund. We also want to share some groundbreaking information that we're going to kind of display. We have a new position that was actually recently funded by the Cleveland Foundation, which is a community programming manager. And that position is what we feel like will actually help sustain and support the nonprofit sector in Cleveland. So sometimes we focus on the patient. And what we are trying to do through this position is focus on the system, you know, to create some stable programming throughout the Northeast Ohio region.
We've had a phone number on the screen that you can call. You can get more information from Cecil Lipscomb, Executive Director of the United Black Fund, by calling 566-9263. That's in the 216 area code. You see the phone number there. Or you can go to unitedblackfund.org, unitedblackfund.org. It's a wonderful organization. I've worked with you for over the years, and it's always good to see you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Don't forget that annual meeting. They want to meet. You want to meet the public.
Absolutely.
And talk about all the wonderful things you're doing.
Call the office. It's, you know, it's invitation only, but we call the office and we'll get you in.
We'll get you in. December the 7th, Wednesday at Case Western Reserve University. Taking a break. This is Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. We'll be right back. We'll talk about the NAACP after we do this first. Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. The Secretary of the Cleveland branch of the NAACP, Arlene Anderson, she joins me right now with Economic Development Chair Danielle Sidner. They'll give us an update on NAACP activities, including the organization's membership drive. Good to have you with us, Arlene. Always good to see you. You too, Danielle.
Thank you.
Tell me, bring us up to speed now. We've heard about the NAACP for generations now. The work of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People still needs to be done, correct?
Yes, there's a lot of work to be done. As you know, our mission really is to ensure social, political, and educational equality of rights and eliminate race-based discrimination. And unfortunately, we encounter that still every day.
So even though we have seen major gains over the last 100 years or so, the work of the NAACP is still vital, still needs to be done.
Still very necessary in our world today. As you can just see by what's happening in the news. There's constant discrimination that occurs every day in our office, and our volunteers work very hard to assist in that effort.
Yeah. You brought with you Danielle Sidner, who's Economic Development Chair of the Cleveland branch of the NAACP. Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Leon. How's it going?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. I hope you're doing fine as well. Tell me, what are you thinking about now as Economic Development Chair of the NAACP? What's foremost in your mind?
You know, I think the biggest thing that our committee really wants to focus on is we see a resurgence happening in Cleveland, you know, around economic development, a lot of new buildings popping up downtown, and we just want to make sure that there's no disparity in how that happens across the neighborhoods of Cleveland, especially on the east side where we tend to have, you know, a higher population of African American and minority populations. We want to ensure that that same treatment that's happening in downtown and some of the near west side areas, we start to see some of that bubble over to the east side side as well.
Yeah, Arlene, that is a battleground right now, trying to get economic parity, trying to get more, get all boats to rise in the rising tide.
It really is the new civil rights of today, economic development, and so that's why we're really focusing in on that effort. But I would like to just let you all know that we are working very hard because we have upcoming elections, our general elections, and one of the main missions of the NAACP is to ensure that people have the right to vote. And so we will be partnering with election protection. So on election day, people can call the number 1-866-OUR-VOTE if they have any problems at the polling places. And so we'll have poll monitors there. We'll also supply rides to the polls and do some phone banking.
Yeah. What's that phone number again?
It's 1-866-OUR-VOTE.
Our vote.
Yes.
Our letter R. R-V-O-T.
Actually, O-U-R.
Oh, O-U-R.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay. Our vote. Okay. 1-866 our vote. All right. So you're also looking at membership as well.
Yes, we are doing a heavy membership drive. We have been contacting the churches, the sororities, the fraternities, other community organizations, because we're really trying to revitalize the Cleveland branch of NAACP. We used to have a strong membership of 10,000 people, and that's where we're trying to get back to.
What do we do to get back? What do we tell people? What do you tell them, Danielle, about the importance of being a member of the NAACP?
Well, my family has a long history of being committed and involved in the organization. So I think I try and help people, you know, in my cohort and my age understand that it's not just our grandparents' organization. It's an organization that still has relevance and meaning today. When we see some of the work that goes on, I know personally being attached to the organization behind the scenes, we don't always realize that the NAACP is part of the reason that we're all sitting here today around this table and have the access that we do. And so if we want to ensure that generations after us have the advancement that we've been able to benefit from, we have to get involved, we have to be members, and we have to be active and be voices in the community.
How do people join the NAACP? Somebody out there who is not a member, and it is open to all people regardless of race, color, creed, all of that. How do people join the NAACP if they're not already have membership?
So we are definitely a multiracial organization from our foundation. They can go onto the website. They can also call the office, and that's clevelandnaacp.org. That's an easy way to go on. The membership form is on the website, or they can call the office and access it that way as well.
And that phone number is 231-6260.
Yes.
In the 216 area code. We've got that on the bottom of the screen. Control room will keep that up for us if we would appreciate that for the entire segment here. What's your vision for the Cleveland branch of the NAACP as we go deeper into the 21st century?
Well, you know, the ultimate vision really is to have no need for this organization. If we could work ourselves out of a job would be the ultimate vision. But in the meantime, we will work, as we've always done, is to assist people who have experienced discrimination and hopefully prepare companies and institutions and organizations to understand how important it is to accept people from different cultures. So we're really looking at it twofold. One, for issues that have already occurred, and what can we really do to talk about how we can all just get along, basically, is what it comes down to. So some of the things that we work on are activities like Lay for Layman's, which is a workshop for people that are not very familiar with the legal system, to help them understand their rights within that system. We have our AXO program that we do every year. We also have our youth council, who meets the first and third Saturday of every month. And it's really important to get the kids involved at a very early age so that they understand how vital this organization really is.
Well, we thank you for what you do, Arlene. Thank you for what you do, Danielle Sidner, as well. Danielle Sidner is Economic Development Chair for the Cleveland branch of the NAACP, and Arlene is the Secretary of the Cleveland branch of the NAACP. Good to have you both on the broadcast.
Thank you so very much.
Okay, we'll take a break. This is Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. We'll be right back. Welcome Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. You know, I'm always glad to have you with us on this broadcast. We've been here for 16 years now, and it's just wonderful to have you with us every week. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the Black Women's Political Action Committee. They're my guests right now. That organization provides a variety of programs and services for women aspiring to a political career. Executive Board member Elaine Golston is here. She sits on the left, and co-chair of the Youth Development Membership and Bylaws Committee, Angela Thee Bennett, is also here. She sits on the right. Good to have you both with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Hope things are well with the Black Women's Political Action Committee. Let's start with you, Elaine Golston, Executive Board member. Exactly what is it that the organization tries to do?
Well, we've been around since 1983, and it came from a vision of 8 women who wanted to make sure that African American women had an opportunity to come into political office. One of our members, who was a founding member, Judge Keenan, had lost a race. And these ladies came together and said, this can't be happening. And so that's how we were organized. And we've gone from those original 8 women to 83 women now. And we have put into office at least 25 to 50 women who have gotten in office over the last 33 years.
You have supported them, and
we have supported them, yes.
Now, how do you do that? How do you support them? Do you give them help them with the roadmap to the political victory?
Yes, we do. We have an advisory committee, and through that advisory committee of seasoned women who have gone through the political process, give folks some mentorship. And, you know, the biggest thing is raising funds, getting volunteers. So it's not that you just jump out there, but that you have to have all these things behind you.
Angela Thee Bennett, you're co-chair of Youth Development and the Membership Bylaws Committee. Women hold political power, don't they?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I just wanted to add on to Ms. Golston and some of the support that being in the Black Women's Political Action Committee provides to even younger folks, you know, younger women wanting to come into the political process, and that is the seasoning. You have the benefit of having this group of women, not just women in elected office, in public office, but women who have been very critical behind the scenes in helping to get those women elected. So you have the benefit of that seasoning in mentorship, and then with the body, getting the bodies out on the ground, you know, to support the campaigns and the volunteers to work. So having that organization there, I think, is extremely beneficial for young women interested either in being in public office or being those supporters behind the scenes.
You work especially with youth development. Do you find that a lot of young people are leaning into the political process or are interested in the political process?
I think what we have to do for young people is show them a pathway into the political process, show them where there's meaning and there's purpose. Unfortunately, you know, this election cycle and some of the things that they see out in the world, they don't believe that they have a voice. And I think what we do is we empower our youth. We believe in them, and then we give them that voice, and hopefully they'll carry that torch, you know, for the next generation.
Elaine Golston, how do you decide what community issues are pertinent and where you want to put your muscle behind them? How do you decide which candidates or which issues we need to be talking about?
Well, one of the things that we do, we meet on a monthly basis, and also we have committee meetings, and we talk about what's facing the committee, the community, and who's involved in that, who has taken leadership in making sure these issues stay before the community. And one of the things that we're looking at now is the whole issue around juvenile justice, and looking at, you know, what can we do as a group of African American women to ensure that we're out there on the front lines helping with these young people and the issues they face.
And you do that through your political education.
Yes, yes, our education.
And you, especially young people, do you work with them on how our government in the United States, or local government at county level, city level, is set up?
Well, I think you work with them on that, but you also work with them on instilling in them a sense of, I can make a difference, right? Because they can go to school, and in social studies class, you can learn about the structure of the government. But you have to move it one step beyond that, right? How do you make a difference, you know, in the government structure? And how can you be that voice for change so that if you find something that you're dissatisfied with or you want to make a change, rather than sit back and complain about it, right, you become part of the solution.
Yeah, you want to be part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Absolutely.
Right, right.
We're going to continue our discussion with Elaine Golston and Angela Thee Bennett of the Black Women's Political Action Committee. But I want to put a phone number on the screen of 216-990-5672. You can get more information on what they're talking about. And you can go to the website, bwpac.org. I'll take a break. I'll be right back in just a moment. We'll continue our discussion. We continue our discussion with Elaine Golston and Angela Thee Bennett of the Black Women's Political Action Committee. It was formed, Elaine, in 1983. We talked about it at the top of your segment here. What do you think the women were saying when they formed this organization in 1983?
We have got to work hard to get African American women elected to office. And I think they prided themselves in doing that, in meeting. And of course, when they first came together, they had a very difficult time because people didn't understand that. But they were persistent because they wanted to get women in office. And you think about it, look at the number of judges that we have that are African American women, young women, who are setting the pace for the young women that Angela talked about.
Angela, in our final minute and a half, when women are in office, do they bring something special, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they bring the perspective of women, and then, you know, having black women, you know, in these political offices. We bring that diversity, right, and the other different perspective. But for our young people, what black women in office does is it brings an opportunity. They get to see themselves in these women, and the opportunity and the possibility, right? It's the hopes and the dreams that one day I can, you know, sit in that seat. I brought up a young group of young girls to our luncheon, and they had a chance to sit and see all of the women in office, you know, judges and you know, just the various women, and they said, wow, I didn't know this existed.
And realize how far we have come in our final 20 seconds or so, how far we have come in this country where black people getting the vote.
Absolutely.
It took generations for that to happen, and women getting the vote took generations
That's
for that
right.
to happen.
And we are bipartisan. I want to share that.
Bipartisan, of
Yes,
course.
we are.
Elaine Golston, Angela Thee Bennett of the Black Women's Political Action Committee, I appreciate you being on the broadcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for Kaleidoscope. I'm Leon Bibb. Be well.
This has been a presentation of News Channel 5's Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland.